So yeah, California is burning down. Like, obviously, like, I'll probably make jokes and make light of things like this, but I'll say right now, like, I made jokes about September 11th. I remember I was in sixth grade. I made jokes about September 11th on September 11th. So people didn't think they were that funny. So, like, I got a bad sense of humor, but man, like, I got to keep it real for a minute. Like, it's actually so sad to see it happen. Insurance companies, so this is I don't know, guys. Like, is this a bad take? I think all private insurance is a scam.
Insurance companies' reasoning for canceling policies for people living in Pacific Palisades in Los Angeles County was due to concerns about the increased frequency and magnitude of wildfires in the state. The decision was announced in March, claiming it would cancel 72,000 property policies in
Wow.
California, 30,000 of which were home insurance policies.
Jesus.
Around 1,600 homes in Pacific Palisades were victims of State Farm's policy cancellations. The company deemed the decision a necessary business strategy to prevent, quote, financial failure. It was allegedly due to California state laws that prevented companies from raising premiums to match the elevated risk. Other insurance companies...
That's also true. I mean, if they can't raise the amount, this is the problem with price fixing effectively, is that if you're price fixing in an area, there is also a case where companies move out of the area. So it's kind of like another example of like the government trying to make businesses compliant and make them operate in the best interest of like a consumer. But what it ends up doing is the opposite. So like a good example is that whenever they had like those rules where like you could steal anything you'd want, well, you had probably a lot of stores shutting down after that. Like you're seeing this happen in New York City too. So when you have a system that makes it to where these companies can't make money, well, they're going to fucking leave, right? I mean, they have to leave. So yeah, that's the cost of business. Well, I mean, if the cost is too high, you can't expect businesses to stay, right? Like, why would a business martyr themselves? Why would you do that? Like, I mean, and the thing is that nobody actually wants this to be true. And the people that do probably either don't have, like, if it was your company that you had your money invested in that was doing this, and it was doing the quote right thing and losing you, let's say, tens of thousands of dollars in your 401k, you'd be out of your fucking mind furious about it. And you'd want those people replaced. So it's easy to be generous with other people's money or time. But when you look at it from the perspective of somebody who actually has accountability for this, I think it makes a lot more sense.
Followed State Farm's decision, which resulted in a significant homeowner insurance crisis in the state. State Farm's president and chief executive, Denise Hardin, rationalized her corporation's decision in a letter to California Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara. Quote, windstorm catastrophes in early 2023 and increasing trends in non-catastrophe water losses and liability claims without the additional premiums needed to support those cost increases have generated large underwriting losses.
Exactly. Like, they can't make the money back if they aren't able to charge a high enough premium. That's why, like, I think that this is true inside of Florida as well, is that a lot of places don't have flood insurance anymore either. Or hurricane insurance, excuse me.
Concluded by expressing a need for reform while maintaining that she still wanted a company
like a good neighbor, State Farm evacuated their business
that was considered empathetic and would be available to aid and assist policyholders in need.
Yeah, I'll be honest, like, I think insurance is a scam. I don't like insurance. I think that all things, like basically every function that insurance has, I think should be fulfilled by a government. Like, that's just my general opinion. I mean, you have like some types of like exotic insurance, like people that insure body parts who are athletes, or people who insure like high value art. Sure. But I'm talking about like normal people insurance. I think these are functions that should be fulfilled by a government. That's my opinion, right? And so I don't think State Farm is even really wrong for canceling everybody's shit. I don't think that they are, because if they kept doing it, they would have lost all of their money to begin with. So it's like, okay, well, martyr yourself or you're wrong. Okay, so you either go out of business or you're a bad guy. I wonder which one to do. Welcome to capitalism. This isn't capitalism. This is like every single person like a monkey and a gorilla can understand like a form of, okay, if I give something this and I only get this back, it's not worth it, right? Like monkeys can figure this out. 5-year-olds can figure this out. This is not an outcome of capitalism. It's an outcome of common sense.
Community. That fire has left much of this once idyllic neighborhood in ruins. This is a neighborhood nestled between the Santa Monica Mountains and the Pacific Ocean, a beautiful place, but now unfortunately all but wiped out. CBS's John.
Taxes are so high in California. Where the hell's all that money go? I think that there's a lot of people in California who are wondering that exact question. I think there's a lot of people that are super curious, where is the money going? That's a great question.
Jonathan Vigliotti has been covering this disaster since it began yesterday, and he shows us now how it all unfolded.
As dawn broke in Pacific Palisades, we found a scene that can only be described as apocalyptic.
Yeah.
The once vibrant village off iconic Sunset Boulevard had stood like this for decades. Oh my God. Until now.
Wow.
We just arrived here in what is left of downtown Pacific Palisades, and I am overwhelmed by the scale of loss. Many people are going to return to home.
Look at this, is incredible. Like, really, I mean, this is probably the biggest natural disaster we've had in a long time, I would say. Like, this is... Yeah, this is like a fucking natural. Well, yeah, no, it is. These are. So, forest fires are natural. Like, they do happen in a natural environment. Now, they don't happen in the exact same way. And, you know, obviously when there's a city there, it's going to be different. But forest fires and these natural events occur on their own.
Many people are going to return to homes that were lost, and even more important, their community completely gone.
Those flying into LAX last night saw an endless blanket of flame, all from the Palisades fire.
Look at this. This is like fucking the 2012. It's like a volcano. Oh my God. The Chinese drones started the fires. I thought it was God punishing California for having gay people in it. Which one is it?
Those on the ground doing everything they could to save homes.
Team effort.
Yeah, let's get out of here. We tried, bro. I'm sorry.
We tried,
and
bro.
when water was needed most, the hydrants ran out.
I also think that there's a huge amount of people, like, I have to say that guys like this guy, I mean, I obviously, like, I get it, right? I get why you do this, but you're the reason why problems are as bad as they are. Because you had all these people that didn't listen to the government for the evacuation warnings. And then when the fires got close enough, everybody tried to evacuate at the exact same time. And then they caused massive slowdowns and effectively shut down roads. And now the roads are unusable for everybody, including the emergency services. So, like, it's people that were not listening to the government's warnings, and they inadvertently put tons of people at risk. And I find it to be like, and I get why you do it. Like, I get it. But man, like, we saw all those cars parked and everything. That's what it is. Not good. No, I don't think this is an LA. This isn't an LA retard thing. I think people do this anywhere. Like, remember in Florida where you had those Dumbos that were sitting around like right in front of the hurricane causing problems? No, it's nothing unique. Or like people that didn't evacuate from that and like their house was floating around. Are they afraid of looters? I mean, if I was a looter, I would feel like this is like pretty much a I mean, this is like kind of like a server bug. And like, yeah, I'd probably want to take advantage of it for sure. Like a duping bug. Definitely. But I'd also be afraid of getting caught on fire. And so, like, if you were a looter, here's the thing, right? Because I actually thought about this a lot. I was like, well, you know, if it was back in the day, would I be trying to, like, break into houses now? Actually, no. Because, like, so the thing is that a lot of the things that you'd steal out of a house, like, most of the ways that people make stealing shit out of houses, like, worth it, is that they take stuff and they put it in the car, right? And so, and also like there's ring cameras and everything that, and those go to like a separate, anyway, I thought about this for like 2 hours, right? It's like if I was going to break into houses during the LA fires, like how would I do it? It's just like a thought exercise I was doing with myself yesterday. And the end result of it was, I don't think that it would be worth it. I don't think so.
We tried,
yeah.
bro. I'm sorry.
And when water was needed most, the hydrants ran out. 3 large water tanks are designed to hold 1 million gallons each. The first ran dry by 4:45 p.m. yesterday, the second by 8:30, and the third in the middle of the night.
We had a tremendous demand on our system in the Palisades. We pushed the system to the extreme.
The terrible toll, at least 1,000 structures destroyed,
Harambe.
15,000 more still at risk, and 37,000 residents who remain evacuated.
Oh my God.
We're having to walk. This is crazy.
For many,
Yeah, I think that a lot of this happened because people didn't observe the warnings. Am I right about this, that people weren't observing the warnings of evacuation early enough and that caused a mass panic, which shut down the roads? I think that's probably what happened. They never do? Yeah, not just that. Hey, you guys are right. There's probably multiple factors.
evacuation orders came too late.
When the IQ turns into the speed limit? Yeah, well, this is accurate because they're walking.
The flames moved in so quickly, people who were trying to evacuate, they panicked. Every car that you see here represents someone or a family that in that state of fear thought the best option was to abandon their cars and flee on foot.
Fire officials admit they were overwhelmed.
It's been more than 24 hours since this fire first ignited. Homes are still going up in flames on both sides of the street. Over here, this condo igniting, and there is not a single firefighter here on the street.
These fires are stretching the capacity of emergency services to their maximum limits.
So many landmarks like this are quickly being erased off the map. Reinforcements are being brought in, but for a community like this, so much has already been lost. 50% has been damaged or destroyed, and this fire continues to explode tonight,
just keep going, right? Yeah.
Jonathan Vigliotti finishing up day 2, now night 2 of his coverage from the front lines. Jonathan, thank you very much.
Yeah, it's just getting worse, man. It is. And kind of wonder why the military hasn't been drafted in to help. That's a great question. I don't know. Like, I feel like that's such a high-level question. I don't even really have the answer for it. I'm not sure. But to help with what? To help organize and get people situated inside of emergency areas. That way, the people that are working inside of the local government can focus on doing the things that are more endemic to the problems that are unique to California. Like, that's what I would do, right? I mean, like, if I'm thinking about this logically, that's what would make sense. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm yapping. Yeah, right. And like a little bit, yeah, I'm just yapping about this. But it sure seems like that would make sense, doesn't it? What the fuck? And so L. Biden, I don't know. I mean, like, the thing is that, let me see if I can find some of this breaking. Yeah, look at this. It's really scary.
But their hands have been tied, and they can't fight a fire without water and the resources that are needed. Everybody knew these winds were coming. The other question has to be, you know, were all the things in place to try to, you know, again, mitigate the damage here? But the real issue to me is twofold. We've had decades to go remove the brush in these hills that spreads so quickly.
See, that's the question that I have is, like, how much of this... Because, like, there's so many instances that I've seen of people that were identifying this as being a potential problem. And so, like, if Donald Trump could have figured this out, I would assume that other people probably also figured it out. So how is it that... How is it that he figured it out, but they didn't even know? Yeah, human error. Yeah, exactly. It's so weird. Exactly.
And the second is, you got to have water. And my understanding is the reservoir was not refilled in time and in a timely manner to keep the hydrants going. So that's a failure, whether on DWP's part or another city agency. But this is basic stuff. This isn't high science here. And it's all about leadership and management that we're seeing a failure of. And all of these residents are paying the ultimate price for that.
That was going to be my next question, is why isn't there water in the fire hydrants? That doesn't make any sense.
You're right. That's a good question. And I think you should start asking, why don't you call the mayor who's out of the country and ask her and get an answer from her?
Well, they say she's on her way back, and that would be a great question to ask her tomorrow if she's at this briefing at 8 o'clock in the morning, because I think there's a lot of people that are outraged.
I mean, fuck, I'd be like, oh, it's burning down. Thank God I'm over here. Jesus, man. Can you imagine if I was at work? Oh, man. That would suck. Yeah, I'd be like, guys, I'm on vacation. I told you I'm on vacation, okay? Like, y'all got to leave me alone.
By that fact tonight, when they look at scenes like this, at businesses that people have worked really, really, really hard to build, and homes that people's entire livelihoods are going up in flames tonight. So for you, watching this and seeing those flames,
it's not the exact same as Ted Cruz. The difference in what made Ted Cruz worse is because Ted Cruz left while it was happening, and this woman was gone, and it happened while she was gone. So, like, there's one thing it's like basically... So, like, imagine it's kind of like, okay, so let's say you're doing Vale and BWL, right? And the raid is going to end up wiping on Vale. But you leave the raid, you say, hey, guys, I've got to go eat dinner, and you leave the raid before the pull starts. Well, like, fucking Ted Cruz was hearthing out during the fight. Like, while things were going wrong, he's a warrior. He's supposed to be tanking the boss. He's hearthing out in the middle of the fight. That's a totally different thing than leaving. Now, maybe you could say, well, that was our top healer that left. We needed to have them there. They shouldn't have left. Very true. But hearthing out in the middle of the fight whenever you're supposed to tank, roaching out in the middle of the fucking thing, that's totally different. LA Mayor was worse. She cut funding to the fire department, acting like LA doesn't have fires every year. I'm talking about two separate things, okay? Like, I see what you're saying. I get what your point is, but that's really it. So, yeah, no, I get it. Forgot the world buff? Yeah, sure. I have multiple coworkers who lost their houses. There's a VA hospital right there. It's a really sucky situation. Oh, it's horrible. Like, it's absolutely fucking horrible. Like, I don't even know what else to say. I mean, it's just bad. Really, really bad.
So, Dennis, we're hearing that you returned to your house. Your family is not with you. Is that right?
No, they're at a hotel and with friends right now, Jesse. And thanks for having me here. And before we get started, I'd like to thank Anthony Marmolejo, James Contreras, Mike Zimmerman, and John Kluwer from OES 5113 from Fresno, who came down here to help out with this fire. I can't say enough about the firefighters who've been here.
Everything good? Yeah? Okay. All right, cool. I don't know what that was.
They've really made the difference. They're the guys that are running in when everybody else is running out. And they made a difference right here on my block. I have to say the fire was not more than 100, 150 yards away from taking out the whole block. And I think you're showing some footage that I shot today. The guys came down to the C-130s and the helicopters who knocked those little spring ups of fire down, and so far have saved the block. Hope the wind doesn't change.
Oh my God, you are lucky. Not a lot of people have gotten lucky, but thank God for some of these choppers and some of these men and women up in the air dumping this juice down and preventing this thing.
I'm surprised so many people don't still believe in climate change when hurricanes and wildfires happen. I mean, like, hurricanes and wildfires are natural events that occur on their own. It's not really a result of climate change. I feel like climate change, I mean, climate change is like, it could be a multiplier effect on this kind of stuff. Yeah, for sure, definitely. But we can't go and look and be like, yeah, this is happening because of climate change. That's not, is that really a complete way of looking at things? I feel like it's probably not.
From spreading, what is the vibe like? It has to be just sheer panic among the people living in this area.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been through several fires here in California in my 45 years that I've been in and around here, and this is the worst one, bar none. It came up so suddenly. It started about 10:30 yesterday for us. About noticing this huge plume. I was coming down my stairs and out the window. This huge plume, and then within an hour, you started to see all this carnage that was going on Palisades Drive, and cars getting backed up, and sheer panic.
There's a lot of people that are trying to argue about the climate change thing, and so there's two factors that a lot of people can't consider because you don't have a like a control group to base this off of. So number one, there's a lot of climate change that can happen that just is a natural reaction to the Earth having changes, right? This has happened. Anybody that knows any sort of geological history knows this is the case, right? So this is like, that's one factor. And then there's another factor, which is preventative measures in the past that could have been taken, or other things that caused this not to happen that were structural, might have been taking place previously and are not taking place now. And so both of these instances could also be multipliers for why this event is so bad. And it's not as simple as saying climate change is the reason why this is so bad. So anybody that's saying like this is a bad take or whatever, just think about this logically, evaluate all the options. And I think that you're right to an extent, but I don't think that extent is all encompassing. I think that if you just think about it for a few minutes, you'd realize that to be the case.
Panic, and those poor people up in the Highlands, people lost everything in just a few minutes. And thank God that I hear that as far as the deaths and injuries that have been in this have been very low. And I hope that continues to be the case. And I think we can credit that a lot to the firefighters that have come in and helped rescue and then save people's property. And
it's crazy to think about all the firefighters and the people that are working on this, like making it happen too. Like really like getting into it as much as you can. Yeah, like what is this? So we have. So what about this is not true? Completely uneducated take. What am I not educated in about this? Firefighters are literally putting in 48-hour shifts. Yeah, it's insane. Yeah, completely uneducated. Yeah, no, it's well. I'm just like, let's think about this for a couple of minutes here. Look, I'm not trying to get banned, but there are scientists that have proven what you said to be untrue. What did I say? What do you think that I said? And you're getting banned, by the way. You are getting banned. Like you're just anybody who is like insistent on like you're wrong, but I'm not going to explain why. Like you're stupid, you don't know what you're talking about, you're dumb, I can't explain why you're dumb. No, you're banned. But I'm curious, like what is it then? Like what do you think that I said that you disagree with? I'm not going to type out an essay as to why, because you can't. That's the reason why. It's completely logical that obviously climate change could play a role, but to act like it's the only causal factor in this is stupid. If it's the only causal factor in this, then why are there people that are professionals with dealing with firefighting that have brought this issue up years in the past? I mean, there's clearly an amount of preventative maintenance that didn't happen here, right? Like everybody can see this conclusion. It's astonishing to me that we're even having this conversation. It's Yeah, as many factors. Exactly. Like, it's just, yeah, I'm not going to have people that are going to, like, call me stupid or say that I'm dumb or whatever. That's so ridiculous. Yeah. This is all warned against in the last 5 or 10 years? Yep, exactly. Now, if people want to explain what they, like, if people want to have a disagreement in chat, that's fine. But if you do it in a way that's disrespectful, rude, condescending, or you just kind of repeat "you're wrong" over and over, you will get permabanned. Yeah, like I'm willing to listen to somebody's opinion that's different than mine, but I'm not willing to listen to somebody who's just insulting me and telling me I'm wrong. Why would I?
Keep things working, and if you get out there, if you get back into your house today, tomorrow, the next day, firefighter is going to be out there. A lot of them have been working 24 hours.
Yeah,
for sure. If you go to Starbucks, get an extra coffee, get an extra sausage sandwich, get an extra anything, and hand it out to these guys. They're out there on the line, and they're out there without something to eat for a long time.
Yeah,
so
I mean, some of these
let's
guys
help them
haven't
out.
slept
They've really helped us.
hours, Dennis. I mean, that's just an incredible feat of strength and perseverance. Do you at all, or do the people in the neighborhood feel let down by the government of California at all?
Uh-oh.
Well, this has been a problem here in California. It's just an inherent problem in California. You know, I saw Rick Caruso, or heard him on the news today, who ran for mayor. And, his daughter, he ran for mayor. His daughter lost her house, I heard during this fire. And my heart goes out to them. And, but no water in the Palisades. The infrastructure has been a big problem around here, and where we should spend the money. I do have a difference with that.
Yeah.
And the mayor coming back, I'm sure she got on the first plane coming back, but having nothing to say once she got here. I don't know if that was edited like that, but
yeah, not a good look.
You got to hit the ground running.
Right.
We got to hit the ground running.
I mean, I would have probably, like, if I was her, I would have tried to think of, like, what to say while I was on the plane. Like, because if you were the mayor, like, you'd be like, okay, fuck, like, I got to figure out something. I got to explain this. Like, what should I tell them, right? And so, like, if you take the entire plane ride, because she was in, like, another country, right? So, like, this isn't like a 1 hour plane ride. Like, you got hours to think about this. Like, I feel like they probably should have come up with something better than that.
Around here, and we got to keep it up. I heard a fire just started in Runyon or Nichols Canyon right now.
I mean, if you're watching,
just started moments ago.
Fast. Dennis, I'm glad to talk to you. I'm glad everything's okay. Thank you, and thank all the firefighters.
That's insane, man. Like, and some of these houses, obviously, there's some people that are celebrating and happy that the houses that are getting burned down are expensive. This is just typical Twitter behavior. But, I mean, if you look at a lot of these houses and you put the math together, right? I mean, this is like $100 million collectively of all these houses that are getting deleted. So, yeah, it's happening a whole lot. Fucking idiots. Well, I'm just saying, right? It's not okay, dude, bro. I mean, it's just like it is. It's just a retard on Twitter. Like, you really going to get that mad about some dumbass on Twitter? What are we talking about? That's what people do. There's an idiot. Who cares?
We're at 302 Pico, and people are lighting fires now. You can see they lit a fire. These guys, not all the people there, but some of those guys lit that fire, and they're actually the trees caught fire, and then the palms are catching fire. So civilians are now lighting fires down in the so-called, flats around Santa Monica, Venice. So,
arsonists,
be safe out there. Fire department's been dispatched. We don't have enough water to put this thing out, but we're supposedly on the way.
So they're just starting fires knowing that the fire department is distracted, and so they can set everything on fire and they know that they can't get rid of it? Man, why? Because they probably hate the government, they hate society, and they hate the country. And so they're just trying to burn it. They're literally trying to burn it down. I feel like people have been doing this forever. I mean, it really this really shouldn't be a big shock, right? I mean, of course it's happening. Yeah, and dumb kids. Yeah, they're probably young guys that are mad that the world isn't the way that, they were promised whenever they were growing up, right? I mean, it's really not that complicated to me. I could easily assume that to happen. Shocking, but still, what the fuck? Yeah, it is really stupid for sure. And this happens every summer here in Greece. Yeah, maybe they think they're the Joker. Yep, there you go.
But there's just the lack of water is a problem. In the Palisades, the water issue is according to authorities is a gravity issue. In order to get the water through the hydrants up in the hills and the mountains, they have these giant water tanks that use gravity, and those water tanks ran dry. Part of the problem is a lot of people are using hoses, trying to understandably hose down their lawns, hoping that will stop the fire. A lot of firefighters will say that's not going to stop a fire like this from burning down your house.
I would assume so.
Keep your lawn, but it's not going to keep your house. But there's this huge water usage all of a sudden, and those tanks on the top. There may be water in the system down below, but if the tanks on the top run dry, there's not enough pressure for gravity to bring the water up into the hydrants. That's in the Palisades. I don't know the water system here in altitude.
Man. Yeah. No shot they're blaming gravity? I mean, I'm sure to an extent they're right. I mean, I don't... It's sure, right? I mean, the reason why something bad like this happens is probably for like 20 different reasons. It's not like one thing went wrong. It's like 15 things, like 10 things went wrong, and 10 things weren't preventively done to prevent the 10 things that went wrong from going more wrong. That's generally what I would assume in any sort of a situation like this. It's Newsom's fault. Yeah, I'll listen to him after this. Look at this. God damn. Look at the wind, too. It looks cool. I mean, it does look cool, but it doesn't if you live there. I'll tell you that. That definitely does not. Yeah, and there you go. Oh, this is another one. Gentlemen. The buildings turn to dust. The trees are untouched. We have seen this many times. What does that mean? Gentlemen, the trees are fake. That's right. This is one of the new conspiracies that people on the internet have invented. It's been going on for a while. Directed energy weapon, evidence of a car fire right here. This is energy weapons again. What he's talking about energy weapons, the reason why he's using that term is because Jewish space laser is word filtered by Twitter, probably. So they had to change the vocabulary. But we all know what they're trying to mean. Yeah, I knew it, right? Yes, this is exactly, these are the Jewish space lasers, like what they used in in Hawaii to punish them. That's right. Trees can tank fire somewhat. Yeah, they can. You guys, everybody knows this, right? So if you are... how many of you guys have tried to light shit on fire? I've tried to light a lot of things on fire. It's really hard to burn a piece of wood that's like fresh wood. Right? It's really hard to do that. And like the best firewood, you guys know, it's like you cut the tree down, you let it sit out there for a few months, and then you split it up, then you set it on fire, then it burns. And it's because of all the moisture that's inside of it. It's got to dry. Yeah, exactly. And so like anybody knows this that's lit shit on fire. So yeah, no, it's actually kind of true. Let's see if I can find the rest. Oh yeah, I was going to watch this one here. Here we go.
This is just incredible mismanagement.
Look at that.
Incredibly poor leadership. I would go so far as to say that
W for them getting their horses out though, man. Like, I find it to be pretty sad people leave their pets. I know sometimes things happen, but like, I mean, you can't leave your little cat. You can't leave the cat alone. Like, what are you doing?
negligent, because, I mean, Gavin Newsom has been either the governor for 5 years or lieutenant governor prior to that for 8-9 years. Some of the worst fires we've ever had in California under that watch. He clearly knows that the biggest problem that we suffer in California are these fires, and by the way, the mudslides that follow. And for them to do essentially not just nothing, but worse than nothing when firefighter budgets are being cut, when they are specifically intentionally not doing the work that could be done to avoid these problems or to be able
to... See, that's what they need to do an investigation into after all this is said and done, is like how many preventative measures and things that were supposed to happen were not done. Whose fault was it that it didn't happen? And then having accountability for those people. Like, I feel like that's really what the conversation needs to be about.
To effectively serve them when they are
it's
happening.
Not going to happen.
We are losing, I mean, I think it's something like millions of acres of feet of water runoff from rain and snow every year in California. As you pointed out, I think the smelt have something to do with that. That's an acre foot of water, by the way, is about 330,000.
Like, in my opinion, this is going to sound like an extreme opinion. I think that if there is evidence that they willfully and intentionally forego, like they decide to forego, like legitimate preventative measures for this, I think a couple people need to go to jail. I do. I think a huge problem with the reason why, like one of the big reasons why I think Americans are really cavalier with making bad decisions that negatively affect other people is because there's never any real accountability for it. So like in the government, people don't really go to jail. And then also in corporations, there's like the corporate veil, which protects individuals from being liable. And so you have these cases where horrible things happen. There are people that know that they could happen. They take the risk, and then there's never any real accountability for it. And like the problem is that basically, if you don't have accountability for risky behavior, you're going to have people that take more risks. I mean, logically, right? And so I think this is a great example of that. And I think it's also, it's true on a macro level as well. This isn't something that's like unique to California. Like California, like I think that I'm going to be real. So like we didn't have anything remotely as bad as this in Texas, but a few years ago we had a freeze that effectively shut the state down because like we didn't have the infrastructure and there were certain things that weren't paid for. I think that we should have done the same thing to the guys here in Texas. There should have been an investigation into it, figure out who the fuck it was that was, getting kickbacks for not investing into this or doing anything, and then put them in fucking jail. Like, get rid of them. Like, how are we even letting this happen? Ted Cruz? Ted Cruz wasn't even the problem, I don't think. Ted Cruz is a senator, but, like, I'm talking about the people that are running the systems themselves. Like, Ted Cruz, yeah, he shouldn't have done that. It was bad. But, like, I don't think the mayor of Los Angeles needs to go to jail for this necessarily, but the people that are in charge of these departments probably do. Does that make sense? It's like the actual people who are making, who are performing the actions.
Gallons of water. And there's millions of those that are just rolling off into the ocean when they could be captured in cisterns. We'd have an ecosystem of hoses and safety measures that can keep all of these homes and people in these homes safe. And for some reason, they choose to do none of that. And at some point, it goes beyond just whoopsie. At some point, it goes beyond negligence. There's something that's almost criminally intentional about this. Like, what are they doing? I don't know.
So you mentioned criminal intent, and you mentioned criminal negligence. Because California can build anything. I mean, look at Silicon Valley, look at Hollywood. If they want to do something, California can do it. But you haven't built a single reservoir in 10 years? You're just letting water run into the Pacific? Because of what? A fish that no one's heard of? Does anybody care about the smelt fish?
I mean, listen, I think that both can be true. I think we can care about the smelt fish and we can care about our environment and also be able to value human life.
He's right. He's completely right. We don't want to, like, Obviously, human life has to come at a higher priority than a fish. Of course it does. But it's never a good thing to make a species extinct.
And the wonderful cities and civilizations that we have built, and find some kind of a balance in all of that. Even still,
Jesse
with
always
the smelts,
says stupid
there's no
shit.
reason why we couldn't have safeguards to prevent what is going on right now. This is just, it's absurd. But I would say at the end of the day, you know, like I said, I don't know if there's criminal intent. I have no idea why they are doing or not doing the things that they are doing, but they must be held responsible. This is not good leadership.
He's right.
I mean, listen, you know, this is the man who, in the middle of the pandemic, when people were being locked up for going and gathering together, he was at French Laundry having dinner with his friends. What does that say about the character of this man who is doing nothing to help the people of California? I don't believe that he is. I don't believe that he is. And so I think that there needs to be some kind of you know, accountability that's held to the leadership, not just of California, but
he's completely right. He is. He's totally fucking right.
Also of our nation. You know, I mean, listen, there are people still in eastern North Carolina that are still climbing out of the rubble of the hurricane that totally ravaged all of them in Florida and North Carolina and South Carolina.
Yeah.
That's still happening, and FEMA completely dropping the ball there. What's going to happen now with Southern California? Is FEMA going to be there? By the way, one of the things that is almost most criminal in all of this, I don't know if you know this, but like 70% or so of the insured in Southern California that used to have fire insurance in their home months ago, this insurance was taken away. The insurance company said, no, we're not going to offer fire insurance anymore. What else? Do they need? They don't need flood insurance. They need fire insurance. This is a fire hazard. Of course, that's the insurance.
Well, they want to sell you fire insurance in Florida and flood insurance in California. I wonder why. It's a fucking mystery.
They need and that they want. And just months ago, this was stripped from people. Like this is not okay. It is not okay in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I'm hearing that State Farm yanked their coverage because the regulators in California wouldn't let them raise rates. So now millions of people don't.
And you can't blame State Farm for that. You shouldn't expect State Farm to martyr themselves and say, we're going to lose a bunch of money on premiums that we know will cost us millions. You can, but I feel like you can't, though, right? That doesn't really make sense. So, like, if you can't sell a product at a price that you can make money on, how can you exist? You can't. It would destroy the whole system. And the only other way that you can exist, and I'll give you the solution, actually, is that you raise the rates of everybody else in the entire country to offset the fact that you can't raise the rates on people in California. So now you have people that are in much worse economies who are subsidizing rates and wages, not wages, but insurance premiums in California. That's it. Inflation in a nutshell. Well, that's what I'm saying, right? You State Farm, there is no other option that they could have taken. There's nothing that they could have done. Different states are unrelated premium. That's the reason why they couldn't do it. That's my whole point.
Have fire insurance, and they've lost their homes and have nothing. And you're right. You mentioned North Carolina. Remember the Maui fires? Still devastation.
Yeah, Lahaina.
And they were staying in five-star luxury resorts, FEMA was. So we expect more, we expect better, we expect dignity and competence in the United States of America. That's not too much to ask. I know there's been a recall in California, but there might have to be something else to hold Gavin Newsom accountable. A trial, a public humiliation, because if this isn't enough to step down as governor, if you have a little honor, I think that's what it calls for.
I think that they're right, that there should be a trial for it, and to see if these things were actually being listened to or taken seriously or not. Like, that's a huge thing. And, yeah, look at this. This is fucking crazy. Like, I don't think this is entirely a result of climate change. It's easy to say that climate change didn't make this better, But like, holy shit, this is insane. Yeah, burning post. Yeah, no, and also like, so I'm the kind of guy I'm actually very much a climate change believer. Like, I totally am. I'm just saying that, like, this is, I think that there's a lot of pieces to this puzzle, right? You can't say remove the coverage at any time. It must be after the coverage is due for renewal. You'll receive a different contract with an amendment. The way that this is worded is like everyone lost their coverage right away. At least in Canada, that's not how it works. Well, I don't know what Canada does for insurance. I have no idea. But like, all I'm saying is that you can't expect a company, like a business cannot operate like a charity. If a company makes less money than it's getting, then the company ceases to exist and everybody who's using the service loses. So if your system is that State Farm needs to make this money, and like also in some cases, like the company does take too much money, it fails. Yeah, it fails. It falls apart. Like it just can't exist. You're talking about nonprofits? I am. Like State Farm is not a nonprofit. You just correct on an insurance thing. If you want money, more info, you can pull me up. Licensed CA insurance agent. No. I have no doubt that like that's probably true, and maybe State Farm did something wrong. But what I'm saying is that fundamentally, if they can't charge a premium that they know that they can make money off of, or that they know they will come out ahead with, they cannot exist as a business. Like this is just, it's just math. If you pay $100 to make $90, if you do that enough times, you run out of money. No fucking shit. Same thing happened in Florida and no one was mad. Really? Because I think I talked about this. I feel like I said the exact same thing in Florida. I did. Yeah, I feel the exact same way, man.
Do you believe that federal aid should be provided to California for as long as it takes?
Well, it's very sad because I've been trying to get Gavin Newsom to allow water to come. You'd have tremendous water up there. They send it out to the Pacific because they're trying to protect a tiny little fish, which is in other areas, by the way, called a smelt. And for the sake of a smelt, they have no water. They had no water in the fire hydrants today in Los Angeles. It was a terrible thing. And we're going to get that done. It's going to finally be done. I got it done from the federal side. And he didn't want to sign it, but it's not going to happen again like that. There's no reason. Can you imagine? You have farmers that don't have any water in California. They have plenty of water. They don't have a drought. They send it out to the Pacific, and it's crazy. So
we got to go kill those fish, boys. We got to get rid of them. Yeah, give me like a hammer and like a spear. We gonna go get them. We got to shut this down, man. Hey, yo,
what's
fuck that
in
fish.
California is a true tragedy. I know those areas very well. I have many friends living in those houses. That is a true tragedy. Nobody ever thought. I mean, virtually Beverly Hills and areas around Beverly Hills are being decimated. The biggest homes, some of the most valuable homes in the world are just destroyed. I don't even know. You know, you talk about a tax base. If those people leave, you're going to lose half your tax base of California. This is a true.
I actually think that's a good point. Yeah, if you got a bunch of people living in $10 million houses, like I know that there's actually like 3 or 4 girls that I know that do OnlyFans, and they left California because of taxes.
True tragedy, and it's a mistake of the governor, and you could say the administration. They don't have any water. They didn't have water in the fire hydrants. They don't have water. And yet they have, the water comes from, you know where? Up north. And it comes down at levels, they give millions and millions of barrels of gallons of water that they have, and they send it out into the Pacific. For the Pacific, it's like a drop, it's nothing. But for California, it would take care of the whole state. So what's happened is a tragedy, and the governor has not done a good job. With that being said, I got along well with him. When he was governor, we worked together very well, and we would work together. I guess it looks like we're going to be the one having to rebuild it. But what happened there, I don't think there's anything that I've ever seen quite like it. And the insurance companies are going to have a big problem because you're talking about big, big dollars.
Well, they're not having a problem because they just roached the fuck out. That's what it was. Yeah, they just roached out. That's it.
I talked to a fireman once. This is one of the reasons it freaked me out. And he was telling me,
this was in July of 2024.
He goes, it's just going to be the right wind, and fire's going to start in the right place, and it's going to burn through LA all the way to the ocean, and there's not a fucking thing we can do about it. I go, really? He goes, yeah, we just get lucky. He goes, we get lucky with the wind. He goes, but if the wind hits the wrong way, it's just going to burn straight through LA, and there's not going to be a thing we can do about it. Because these fires are so big, dude. When they're talking about like thousands of acres that are burning simultaneously with like 40-mile-an-hour winds. And the wind's just blowing embers through the air, and those embers are landing on roofs, and those houses are going up, and they're landing on bushes, and those bushes are going up, and everything's dry. And once it happens in a way where it's so spread out that there's nothing they can do. There's nothing they can do.
You just have to evacuate, right?
Nothing they can do. I talked to a fireman once. This is one.
That's fucking insane, man. Holy shit. Yeah, well, there it is. And he knew a little too much? Yeah, I guess so. The Requiem for a Dream music? Yeah, exactly. Can you touch on the insurance companies reaching out, please? I just got here. I mean, there's not really a lot to say with the insurance companies. It's just the fact that the... let me see if I can find it real quick and pull this up. Yeah, where the fuck is this? Trending. Damn, this is not even the top one. Where the fuck is it? Okay. Yeah, here we go. So, yeah, the insurance companies moved out of California in some cases with, like, the fire insurance because they couldn't charge a high enough premium to make it worth it for them. It's pretty simple, right? I mean, that's my understanding of it, at least. Yeah, holy fuck, man. This shit just got torched. Oh, my God. Wow. So it was before, right? Yeah, the risk was too much. Yeah, exactly. The rates were too high for them to stay. Yep. Oh, this is Gavin. Oh, there he is. This is the guy.
What is the situation with the water? Obviously, in Palisades ran out last night in the hydrants.
Yeah, so like, what's going on, man?
They left because there was no water in the hydrant here.
Look. I mean, shit.
Folks are trying to figure that out. I mean, just
when
you have a system where it's not dissimilar to what we've seen in other extraordinarily large-scale fires, whether it be pipe, electricity, or whether it just be the complete overwhelm of the system. I mean, those hydrants are typical for 2 or 3 fires, maybe 1 fire. You have something at this scale, but again, that's got to be determined by the local.
What is?
Yeah, so he says, look, man, like, I mean, shit. Fires are breaking out in East California, getting close. Radio towers right now. Yeah, and my understanding is, like, this shit's still going on right now. So this is in Los Angeles? Oh, my God. Holy, yeah. Like, this is not AI or some shit. I don't think it is AI. That one guy. Oh my God. Jesus. Yeah, Gamba RNG, I guess so, right? The roof? Yeah, I guess so. Holy fuck. Rolled a net 20? Yeah, I guess so. Look at all those pools and everything. The trees knocked over. Oh my God. Dude, this, like, if I see this, this is like, you ever play like an RTS game and you get like your base attacked while you're downstairs, like eating dinner, and you come back up and it's just like this. It's like everything's fucking destroyed. A nuke, yeah. It's like you played StarCraft against Terran and they dropped 3 nukes while you weren't paying attention. Holy fuck, man. Looks devastating, yeah. Oh, wow. That's just, yeah, it's just really fucking, wow. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. There's like probably another cascading effect that like this is going to have. I bet it's probably going to hurt a lot of people that have respiratory problems over there too. Like, so you're probably going to have like the social services and health services that get overwhelmed as a cascading effect. So like, yeah, air quality is fucked there. Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is insane. Remember, this might be bad and getting a lot of news because of LA, but it literally happens every year in California. I feel like this is, there's a lot, right? I mean, this is not just like, you're right, it happens a lot, but it's not like this. Yeah, look at that. Wow. This like straight up like fucking like some kind of like apocalypse movie or something. It's mostly because of bad forest management and wrong foresting over time. They cut down the entire forest and replaced it with limited diversity of the same genetic trees. Any pest will kill off or dry out an entire forest. It will lack the ecosystem and layers of a normal forest. It's artificial. I think that it's probably, like, if you want my completely, like, I don't know what I'm talking about opinion, I think it's probably the majority bad management. I think part of it is bad RNG. And I think that there's like a 10 or 20% component of climate change that basically acted as a multiplier effect of the negative effects of those bad actions. That's basically what I think it probably is. Like, if you ask me, like, what do you think it is? That's probably what I would guess. Something like that. Yeah, it seems reasonable. Oh, the Jewish space lasers. Yeah, it could also be. I don't think it is though. Yeah. Oh, lasers in the sky. Watch. Oh, yeah. Here we go. And so, yeah, this is there's a fire that's erupting from energy beams. Yeah, for sure. For sure. That's definitely what's going on. And, yeah, definitely. Let's see if I can find any more of these. And, of course, obviously, there's tons of people that are getting killed. I mean, it kind of goes without saying, but yeah. The most expensive properties in Malibu. So these are all the waterfront homes. Oh, my God. That used to be a house. That's like a $5 million, $4 million house right there. Damn. 50? No shot, really? Fuck. I mean, to be fair, I mean, let's be reasonable just for a second here. The real value there is the land. They can build another house on this for a couple $1 million. The value is the land, but like, man, that's terrible. Who's gonna pay for all this damage? Mexico. They're gonna have to pay for it. Look at this. Greenland? It's a good idea. Yeah. There you go. The risk of this happen devalues the property? Yeah, it does. Look at that. Is that like one of those staircase things? That's like a rust base. And this one just is this one's just fine. So this is what they used to look like. God damn. Damn, what's with this fucking audio? Holy shit. Turn this down. And they're just trying to, like, basically stop it from spreading, I guess. Yeah, because, look, yeah, I guess they got it controlled here. Damn, I didn't realize we're watching the Fallout TV show today. Yeah, same. I didn't realize it was this bad. Isn't this TOS streaming a TV show? Yeah, for real. Look at that. Wow. Imagine being that homeowner. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't even imagine that. That's insane. Holy fuck, man. So the home being rented by Hunter Biden is burned down? Man. This reminds me of the end of Office Space, where like now all the evidence is destroyed. Yeah, it's like, you know, like, yeah, there's no way to know. You have no idea. And everything is just, yeah, Milton burned it down. I guess so. Holy shit, man. That's what started it? I guess so. Let's see, I'll find a few more of these. Oh, they got all the little dogs and shit in here. Oh, God.
Getting ready to go to the hotel.
Look at all the floofy boys.
Everybody make sure to bring your pets.
Yep.
And just praying for everyone's safety.
Got all the puppers. Yep, look at them all. You know what's really funny about these is getting woken up at 2 in the morning because this one wants to make a really loud sound for no reason. Yeah, that's a really funny thing about having a dog like that. Yeah, just out of fucking nowhere for literally no reason. Just, yeah, we're gonna like, we're gonna just say, hey, wake up, bitch. Rat ass dogs. Yeah, no, I like those little dogs. They're cute and nice, but they can also be fucking annoying. Let me see if I can find any more of this. California waffle. Yeah, what is this? So have they got it under control at all?
Offering a message of strength.
Today, you know, it's kind of hard to keep it together because our life is gone. It's not gone. We're alive. We're fortunate, but our home is nothing there but the chimney. You know,
0% containment,
and so many others. All our neighbors.
So it's actually just still all burning down.
Everybody, the memories. Altadena is a special place.
Why is he wearing a mask?
I hope we bounce.
Because there's so much like this. That's a smart guy. He's a really smart guy for wearing this. Obviously, he needs a walker, which means that he probably might have respiratory or like cardiological problems. And so it's to avoid having any of the particles from the smoke get into his lungs. And I mean, like, I guess also he's old as fuck. I mean, look at his hair, bro. Like, this is some Gandalf the White hair. Like, it's not gray hair. This is white hair.
It's back. You know, it's going to be a hard process, a slow process, but I hope we bounce back. We will. It's just going to take time, you know?
Yeah.
It's just going to take time.
And I know, like you were saying, this is emotional for you, too, because of your cancer journey. You've been through a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I was diagnosed with cancer
Jesus.
In the middle of August. I spent 3 weeks in a hospital. I couldn't use my legs at all. And
what the
after
fuck?
7 weeks in a nursing facility and some great PT people, I'm now on a walker. And
good for him.
God willing, in a couple months I'll be walking again. So
good for him, man.
It's just like a big one too, you know. And but I'm fortunate because I'm here. I have my wife. We have some great friends who really helped us out, and we'll get through this, you know. And I'm wishing that for everyone. You'll get through it one day at a time, you know. Excuse me. Yeah.
That man must feel so overwhelmed. I just want to give him a hug. My goodness, he's already been through so much, and then this on top of it.
It really is, and there's so many stories like that too, you know? That's just one story. There are many stories like that. Maria, actually, I do want you to talk about this because I noticed a lot of people saying, hey, the wind has stopped. It's not blowing as hard. Why are there still fires? Can you please speak to that?
Well, okay, so there's many reasons why there's still fires, right? A lot of that falls on the firefighters. Of course, they have still a lot of wind to contend with. It may not be windy where you are, but certainly as you get up higher and higher in the atmosphere, it gets windier and windier, and that affects how they attack this fire, whether it's the helicopters or fixed-wing aircraft or none at all. There are all of that to consider, but also the winds are going to go up and down. Okay, if it's not windy where you are right now, it very well could be in the next hour or so. As we take a wide look outside right now, I just want to point out the contrast of temperatures. It is winter, and look at the 20s and 30s and some wintry weather across parts of the deep south. Here in the southwest, warmer with those temperatures in the 60s and 70s today because of that offshore flow. This wind, the Santa Ana wind, is still with us. Not as strong as the last couple of days. That is the good news. I like saying these numbers because it is hopefully helping, and
it's just some bullshit.
I'm seeing, and I have hope that the house is going to be in good shape and standing.
So we know that you're about 4 doors north of Moon Shadows, and as we reported yesterday, unfortunately, Moon Shadows is one of the many places that was lost, but you have hope to believe, based on video that you've seen, that there are a few houses there that are standing, including yours and some of your neighbors. Have you spoken to anybody who lives near you?
So I spoke to both my neighbors, one to the left and one to the right of me. I shared the video that I saw online yesterday, which looks like our homes are
Rogan's house is gone,
still standing.
Is that it?
But nobody got confirmation that it is. So we said whoever knows first will let the other know. But we're all praying that our houses are still standing.
Living right there on the ocean, and you've been there about 5 years, you said. Did you ever dream that your house?
Holy
so many people
man.
Who are right there on the ocean never thought that theirs might be taken down in a fire like this, because you don't live in the hills.
No, he probably has
a
house in Texas. People probably saying he has a house in LA. There's a good chance he has a house there.
Never would I thought that would be this type of situation. It's just horrible, especially.
I mean, they could just be making it up too. Like, I don't know.
I have no idea how the fire jumped and got into Moon Shadows and burned it down. It's just horrible. It's been there for so many years. I mean, I go there a couple of times a week. It's horrible to see it go, and horrible I feel bad for all the people that lost their homes, and I'm hoping I'm not one of them, but I gotta be prepared for the worst.
Well, Alex, I hope you get some good news, and I thank you so much for talking to us.
Appreciate you
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, you guys, the fire continues to burn up there on the hillside behind me. We haven't seen the super scoopers dropping
Holy shit.
in that area.
So it's been going on for over a day.
Into the hills. And just to
people
point out,
just saying that because the guy looks like Joe Rogan.
You know, is
bald.
so bad today.
Yeah.
Most people are wearing masks, and the other thing that we're noticing is more and more people coming in on bicycles, on Lime bikes, on Lime scooters. They're trying to make their way into the area to get answers. People are desperate to find out whether their homes are standing. So people know that they cannot necessarily get their cars past these roadblocks, so they're trying to use other means to get inside here to try and find out whether they have anything left. That's the latest live in Pacific Palisades. I'm Michelle Gili. Back to you.
We can certainly understand all of those folks' frustration out there. Michelle Gili, thank you so much.
All right, we want to get back to the Eaton fire now. Our Joy Benedict is live in Sierra Madre at I guess Star Touch and Carriage
It seems
Drive.
like it's dialed down
Joy,
at least a little bit.
This is a residential street.
Yeah, at least they're not showing any more
yes,
like crazy
this is a
fires like
we
before.
We are very close to the hillside right now, where the Eaton fire continues to burn up in the hillside. But I want to show you this street. As we mentioned, this is Startage Street. We have several homes that are unfortunately gone here
it's
on
over?
this
I'm
street.
not sure.
Probably about
I don't
4
think it
or
is.
5 that I see on the south side of the roadway. If you want to take a look at all of these homes, as you go across the street here closer to Carriage Drive, we also have a home that is burned, and that seemed to be the last one, as the rest of them here, as you're heading in the westbound direction, seem to be still standing. And that is really good news, especially for Bernard and Lucy, who live here right on the corner. They lost one home directly to the east of their home, but the one on the west, and their home is still standing. And Hi, thank you so much for taking a second to chat with us. How are you guys doing?
We're incredibly lucky. We're incredibly grateful. We could tell when we got here yesterday morning.
Yeah, bro, like imagine the house next to you gets burned down and it's not yours.
An awesome job of fighting back flames from the east side because we could see their hoses. They'd used our hoses. And that was the side that took out our fence, and unfortunately our neighbor lost their home. But we think that by mitigating, by the fact that we had luckily taken down big pines on that side, big hedge this last year, probably saved us from that side. And also the fact that, you know, we really try our best to have the right kind of plant material on our yards to be somewhat fire resistant. But boy, we're just by the grace of God. That's it.
I mean, really, I mean, that seems what it is for so many here in this community. By the grace of God, one stands and one does not.
I do think that, you know, if we, and also, you know, the possibility about this power transformer line up here, you know, it might have went off, probably flamed up our palm trees and
media hating God.
Caused all
Is
the
that
brush
it?
To burn on the back side of our
57
hillside.
billion damage of dollars.
We had a lot of shrub on that side that went all off, but we have a pool, so there was probably some fire break. So fortunately, our home is good.
Now, let me ask you this. You guys did evacuate on Tuesday night. What did it look like when you were leaving, and why did you make that choice?
Well, we'd heard the news that there was a fire in Eaton Canyon.
Damn, what the fuck is this?
So many of you out there have so many questions
about
that. Insurance, and once the smoke clears, this is going to be what's on top of mind for so many victims of these wildfires.
Bro,
insurance issues related to the LA
yeah,
fires
it's like a volcano
for victims. So let's bring in insurance experts and host of Insurance Hour, Carl Sussman. Carl, Insurance Hour, you are the insurance man of the foreseeable future. There are so many people who are interested in issues like this. Welcome to the program. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. I appreciate being here.
The first question I have for you is that if somebody does lose their home or their business, and so many of the people out there who are watching have done this, what's the very first step that they can take, because it can get so overwhelming?
Well, the first thing to do, and I tell everybody this, is stop and take a deep breath and exhale, because as horrible as this is, and this is horrible, I'm personally evacuated from my home as we speak.
Yeah, I'd be stressed.
What's most important is our loved ones and our bodies and ourselves. And so be happy that you are safe. Be sure you are somewhere safe. The stuff that we left behind, and if the worst has happened and you've lost it, this is what insurance is for. This is why you purchase it. This is why you've been paying for it. And now it's time for the carriers to step up and do what they need to do. The first thing you want to do is take a deep breath. After that, get ready to file your claim. We're telling everyone that you really want to get the claim filed sooner than later.
Geez.
Even if you don't have 100% confirmation of what it is that's happened. Maybe you've been evacuated. You're not 100% sure. Is your home there? Is it not there? Which is just the worst feeling. But start the process now. It's sort of like
he's right.
and you take the number. You want to get in line. You want to get your claim started so that when
this
the
guy
process
sucks.
can begin,
Well, no, he doesn't suck. He's right.
Be in line, and you'll already be in a position where you can be assigned a claims adjuster, and you can start things moving forward from there.
Yeah.
And how much, can people reasonably expect to get from their insurance company after they do file a claim?
Well, depending on the policy they have, some companies
probably between $1 and $0.
For a lot of information, they're going to ask you to make lists of things that were damaged, lost. What did you have? Other carriers, it might be as simple as you're going to ask for policy limits.
The chatters act like, bro, people act like this guy lit the houses on fire.
Line by line and do that.
He didn't do this.
One thing to be aware of is a lot of these losses will be with the California Fair Plan Association, and they have a very specific script that they have to go through. And I know it can be frustrating. I've been on probably 30 or 40 calls with clients this week, and they'll ask you, was any personal property damaged? And of course you want to scream because you just told them the house is gone, but they have to ask, and they're going to ask you, do you know the cause of the fire? And you want to pull out the rest of your hair. Just, again, a little bit of grace, a little bit of patience.
What he's saying is that the people that are working the customer lines are bots. And you just have to go through the NPC dialogue options, even if they're stupid.
Total loss.
That's just how it is.
To get the limits that are within your policy.
I mean, you talked about grace just a moment ago, and some people
you got
are
to
saying
deal with them.
This could be the final straw in fire insurance coverage in Southern California. Already before this, State Farm dropped 70% of its policies in the Palisades alone. That's more than any other zip code in the state because they knew that this area is considered high risk. What are people to do here?
Well, I think that was actually a bit of luck for consumers, as it turns out, because as we know, State Farm is having some serious financial problems. They've actually filed with the Department of Insurance for emergency rate increases because they are claiming they don't have enough money right now to pay their claims. So if they were on the hook for all of those clients in the Palisades, the likelihood of them being able to pay those claims are pretty low. So those people, as frustrated as they were, they are with other insurance companies, and they're in a position where they can likely get those claims handled and get them paid.
I mean, you don't know that.
Should be expecting at this point.
Yeah, that's a big if.
That the Department of Insurance has been talking about since September of 2023, if you can believe it, finally became law in December. So what I think is going to happen is now the industry...
Like a good neighbor, State Farm loots your house while you're at work.
Ridiculous. There's no coming back from this. I think because of the new regulations that are in place, there is a path forward.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm picks up the packages that are left at your doorstep from Amazon Prime and then tells you that they didn't get delivered.
They're going to be reshuffling how they underwrite, how they price, how they discount, all those sorts of things. And areas that are higher risk for fire are going to be higher premiums to pay, and areas that are lower risk for fire are going to be less expensive.
Wow. Thank you.
Fire insurance
we brought in the expert.
What do you do now?
There we go.
Because so many people who just lost their homes are facing questions like this, and they have no idea what to do.
Well, what happens is if your home is gone and you need to rebuild, you
State
need to get
Farm
a special
stock.
type of policy. They're called course of construction policies, and there will be companies running around to write those policies, right? They're going to smell the blood in the water, and they're going to say, oh, we can write all this business, right, for course of construction insurance. Now, the Department of Insurance is extremely consumer-friendly, very pro-consumer. They've already issued an edict that says that if you are in any of the wildfire-affected areas,
this is something different.
Areas, then the insurance carrier that you had before
5 days.
The
It seems like it's going about the same.
Renew you or cancel the policy. So you've got a guarantee of 12.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest, right? Like, I mean, let's be Machiavellian for a minute here. If you were going to invest in a company that was an insurance company, and you wanted to invest in the one that was going to make you the most money, the one that told a bunch of people that were in fire danger areas to get fucked, and then they just stopped giving them insurance, I would be more confident in investing in them because they're going to do what's important to increase shareholder value. So I feel like, if anything, this is probably going to make State Farm stock go up. I mean, that's just me.
Human remains. Gigi Gracia joins us from Malibu with the details on 3 active investigations. Gigi, what can you tell us?
That's right. Law enforcement sources confirmed to me they do believe that the remains found in the rubble at this home here on Pacific Coast Highway in Malibu are human, are from someone who lived here. But the medical examiner who just arrived on the scene will make that determination.
Should have got out of the house.
And this is one of at least 3, possibly 4 different investigations going on simultaneously.
So why is it that people why they stay in their house if they're told to leave? Like, I'm just confused. Like, yeah, maybe they're like an older person. I could see that happening. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Can't move. Yeah.
The human remains were found in multiple locations.
I guess that makes sense, right?
Pacific Coast Highway. We understand now that there were 2 people who lived here. One of them got out, and when that person didn't hear from the other occupant of the home, they called the sheriff's department and asked them to do a welfare check. That welfare check was done, and that is when deputies found what they reported to be human remains. Homicide detectives are here. That doesn't necessarily mean that there is foul play suspected. It just follows falls under their jurisdiction. We have the medical examiner now. They will make the ultimate determination if the remains are indeed human, and then they'll have to identify who died here at the scene and how they died. I mentioned this is one of
I could guess how they died.
Investigations happening simultaneously. Over in Altadena, at 2 different locations, human remains have possibly also been found. In one case, firefighters called deputies, telling them they found the human remains in the rubble of a burnt-down house.
Of course.
In another case, deputies were driving by when they were flagged down by a resident who told them they had found human remains. Again, it's
Wait, they
important
died
to note
from
the medical
COVID?
examiner will have to confirm this, but our sources are telling us, at least here in Malibu, they do believe that the remains found belong to someone who lived in this home, the home that has burnt down. Reporting live in Malibu, I'm Gigi Graciette.
This
Back to
bird
you.
flu now. Oh, yeah.
I do suspect that this will be, especially when you saw the overhead look that Stu was giving us of the Palisades. You don't know what's in those homes, and I have a sneaky
Yeah, tons of
suspicion that
people
we'll be
probably
finding
got
more,
killed.
Unfortunately,
I think you're right.
in the rubble. Which is why Sheriff
You're probably going to have a bunch of people that die from like respiratory complications too in like the coming like a month or so. I bet that's what's going to happen because you got all those old people and shit.
More, unfortunately, bad news to come. We're going to take a break, though. We'll be right back.
Yeah, lung problems. Yeah, that's just what's going to happen. Yeah, no.
Fox 11 in Los Angeles there. You were taking a live look.
God damn.
And I've been here my whole life. I don't know anywhere else other than here. Myself and my brother and my son, Chase, and his other grandchildren. This is where we've been our whole life. And my son tried to get him to leave, and my neighbors and myself. And he said he'll be fine. I'll be here when you guys come back. And he said his house would be here. His house is here, and he was here too. He was in his bed when I found him.
I know family members found some bones.
Yeah, we found him bones. His whole body was there, intact.
So sorry. His legacy, his grandfather founded, established Nickerson Gardens in Watts, the largest public housing development in LA.
Yes, ma'am. William Nickerson, my great-great-grandfather, his grandfather, was a founder and owner of Nickerson Gardens in Watts.
Sad as fuck.
And
Yeah,
then
it
from
is.
there, he started Golden State Mutual, which still exists on the corner of Western and Adams. And we've been here. We've been here.
I mean, this is an 83-year-old man who leaves behind 45 years of work at Lockheed Martin.
Yeah, he worked at Lockheed Martin for 45 years. He was a project engineer manager. My mom worked at Lockheed. He started at Lockheed when they were in Burbank, and when they moved to Palmdale, he commuted from here to Palmdale every day until he retired.
Rodney Kit
I have
Nickerson,
no idea.
one of, at this point, at least 5 people killed in this firestorm that blew through here Tuesday night. We know cadaver dogs are out there. The Sheriff's Department actually wouldn't even give a number anymore with the people who died. Another man up the street from here on East Loma, also we're hearing passed away in his home, very close to here. I mean, this neighborhood just wiped out. These homes burned to the ground.
Wow.
The neighborhood is completely gone. Blocks and blocks and blocks down. And it's just devastating. It's devastating.
It is. It's horrible.
It's horrible.
Your grandson, 25-year-old Chase, was here living with Rodney. Chase said, "I'm out of here at 11 p.m. Tell me what happened."
He just kept telling my dad, "Come on, pack up the car. Papa, come on, let's go." Yeah. And he was like, "I'll be right behind you." And he put some stuff in the car that's still there. And Chase was like, "Papa, we got to go now." And he says, "If I need to go, I'll go. But grandson, I don't need to go right now. But I'll be here."
Chase couldn't convince. I mean, it was just Grandpa's going to stay.
Yeah. And boy, did he stay.
Yeah.
My mom would do the same. I guarantee you, my mom would do the exact same shit with this. Yeah, 100%. Like, it's so frustrating to deal with people like that. Yeah, they're stubborn. They're going to just do what they're going to do.
My dad has been here, continuing on what he's been doing since 1968.
I mean, he wanted to stay in the home that he has lived in for decades.
This is true. And he did just that.
Yeah.
He did just that.
What was the last conversation you had? Was it when he had just told you, "I'll be here tomorrow"?
I'll be here tomorrow. That was the last thing he verbally said to me was, "I'll be here tomorrow."
And
Guess not. Should have evacuated.
Far away.
I was far away.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah, should have fucking evacuated. That's crazy.
Just take a look at that.
What a
A
mistake.
live picture there in California. Let's head back out to our partners at Fox 11 in Los
Yeah.
Angeles for their continuing coverage.
To another financial crisis. The full cost of recovery still unclear as firefighters battle, of course, to contain the flames.
Meantime, LA County Sheriff Robert Luna has a sad update to the amount of people accused of looting LA fire victims, and he's ramping up the department's efforts to curb it.
Last night and this morning, we are up to 20 individuals who chose to go into our areas and deprive these poor people who have been through so much of their property. Absolutely unacceptable.
That's really good.
And I'm going to give direction
What do you mean?
to our department members. As you know, when we have an evacuation order by
That's tiny.
law,
They got caught?
If you
That's
remain in
true.
that area, you are guilty of a misdemeanor. If you commit certain crimes, it could jump up to a felony. I'm going to be asking our employees to start enforcing that. That is very different than a curfew. Why? Because it's 24/7. I don't have to wait for the sun to go down or the sun to come up. If you are in one of these areas and you do not belong there, you are going
Why's
to
the
be
guy throwing out
subject
game
to
signs?
arrest.
So this is called
Shortly
ASL.
After that, newly elected
Not
Los Angeles
age, sex,
County District
location, it's
Attorney
American
Nathan
Sign
Hoffman
Language.
echoed the sentiment.
Yeah, that's not those are not gang
You wanna
signs.
commit
That's sign
burglary.
language, guys.
If you want to engage in grand theft,
Yeah.
if you want to engage in these internet scams where you're going to take advantage of people who are going to be seeking insurance and government benefits, you will be arrested, you will be prosecuted, and you will be punished to the full extent of the law. And the reason I want to send this warning now is I don't want any mistake later that somehow they thought, oh, it's not a big deal. It's a huge deal. These acts are despicable, and we will prosecute them with maximal
You always have people that do this
punishment.
shit.
It's still sickening to me that people
Yeah,
would,
you always gonna have
and
people doing
all
this.
too willing to take advantage of vulnerable people who are trying to, protect their homes and people who frankly lost everything.
Yeah.
In the meantime, there are some people who are doing good in this world.
They're
First
opportunists?
responders
Yes,
battling fires in LA are
people
getting
do.
a much-deserved free meal. This is all thanks to one local restaurant.
Yeah, Bob, we're right now live with this heartwarming story. Hey, Bob, where are you?
This is just some restaurant. That's good for
Yeah,
them.
it's one of those stories where in the midst of a big crisis, all the community comes together. You ask where I am, we are really in the heart of Eaton Canyon. I've been hiking around here. This is not even very far where
Well,
the fire actually started. Really a short stone's throw.
Man, only one restaurant? Yeah, I mean, the coverage of this makes me pretty sick. It's really bad, man. Like, you look at the, there's just houses still on fire. They haven't even been able to get this shit under control at all. Like, oh my God. Yeah, I mean, nothing will help prepare a $10 million house like a free meal. I mean, I feel like if you're hungry, it certainly helps. I mean, fuck, I'd be happy about that. Yeah, wow. Fucking Canadian provinces are sending firefighting aircraft. Is Trump going to say we're bombing you guys? Probably, yeah. We'll have to return fire. Anderson Cooper in front of an LA burning house doesn't get more Hollywood than that? Yeah, I guess so. Holy fuck, man. Yeah. W Canada.
Like, hey, you got anything to eat? And they pretty much had water. They have to go all the way down to...
There's no food or anything? Yeah. Wow. Well, California cut the firefighter budget by 17 million months before this. I do think that there needs to be, like, some kind of investigation into, like, how the fuck this happened. Absolutely there does. Like, because I feel like in a lot of cases, like, things like this is kind of, it's like, things, like, shit happens, right? But at the same time, it's like, how much of shit happened? How much is it of shit happening versus, like, people that let it happen or, you know, like, left the door open for it to happen? It was 17 million out of hundreds of millions. It was 2%. Yeah, it's probably not a big deal. the DEI happens. I don't know. I feel like it can't be that simple, right? I mean, like that's insane. If it's literally that simple, if it's DEI is the reason why all the houses burned down. I feel like, I mean, as much as, you know, I like to talk about shit like that, I mean, I feel like that's probably not what's going on. I mean, it didn't help, right? I mean, like, if you hire people, like, no doubt, right? If you hire people that, oh, here you go. Yeah, you hire people because of some bullshit, and you're gonna have worse people that are gonna solve problems. Like, definitely.
Hell has taken over. It's so big, it's so red.
Mm-hmm.
My thoughts and prayers are with everyone tonight.
Yeah. I mean, it was foreseeable enough for insurance companies to pull out. Maybe the government could have done something. Well, they pulled out because they couldn't charge enough money, which is a little bit different, right? Like, look at that.
That smoke, that's not actually the Palisades fire. That is all from the Eaton Canyon fire, and it made its way all the way up to the top of Mount Wilson. All that smoke and everything that you're seeing right down there, that is the areas that are being covered by that smoke. That's Santa Monica, that Santa Monica Airport right there in the shot. Now, Skyfox actually up over the Palisades fire, and we actually had the DCA just moments ago doing some orbits. This
oh my God.
Palisades fire. The most of the
Jesus.
smoke from this is making its way out over the ocean and actually going out towards Ventura and Oxnard. So there is a lot of smoke out here. There's still a lot of activity.
Holy shit.
DC-8 here. They were going to do some FOS check drops.
Is this Unreal 5?
It's
Unreal 7.
Locked down before those winds really start picking up again. Right now, there's the DC-8. I'm not sure if he just did the drop or if he's still setting up, but you can see them actually out here. They're bringing in the big guns.
I think that's Taylor Swift.
When the winds are a little bit lighter and they're bringing in the big fixed wings, and they're going to start dropping a lot of that FOSJEC, that red fire retardant on out here to kind of just box in these the flames that are still active up on the hillside. So if the winds do kick up, there's a good chance that it will just basically run to a line and burn itself out. That is what they're hoping for. But right now, though, still a lot of devastation out here, and of course we saw this earlier on, but I know that we were just supposed to talk about the repeater, but there's so much going on out here, and especially from the air, and we got this visuals from all the different angles. I needed to share it with you all. Sending it back to you all in the studio.
Yeah, the overlook
is
nuts.
It's an amazing app. It's called Watch Duty. It gives you updates on evacuations and whatnot, and it says the crews conducted defensive firing at Mount Wilson, and they report that everything is going good. This is per, radio traffic, and that no infrastructure has been impacted. Can you is this something that you're seeing as well up there in Skyfox?
He's talking about the government. It's okay.
We could actually see the antennas. I was actually wondering what was actually going on up there, because we didn't see any active firefighters or anything moving around like aircraft. When we went to the this side of it, which would be the west side of the smoke plume,
that neighborhood looks like a straight-up nuke was dropped on it.
But they weren't making any effort to go up there. So actually, I did think to myself, I wonder if they're doing backfires just to clear the brush in the area, taking advantage of what was going on. And they know how strong those winds are, but there's been times in the past where a backfire might actually create more of a problem than they intended. But if the fire does get to any of those buildings out there and the power does go out, that's going to create problems for communications for first responders. It'll create communications problems for us. Anybody that's watching watching Fox on an off-air system, they might lose that signal until we get that repeater back up. So that's one of the big concerns right now, but all that smoke is also a huge concern for a lot of folks out there. I mean, even up in Skyfox, a lot of times we can say, well, we're up in a helicopter, but lately, today, my eyes are watering. This is really tough stuff, and I can just imagine what a lot of folks are dealing with down there on the ground.
Yeah, it's like that old dude that died. I bet maybe he could have died from respiratory problems. Like the one that said it was 83, he stayed in the house. Maybe he didn't even get heated up and cooked. Maybe he just died from respiratory problems. Yeah, inhalation. Exactly. Yeah. I feel like that's probably what happened. Yeah, smoke kills most. Yeah, I've only been in a situation with a lot of smoke one time in my life. It's crazy. If y'all have ever been in one of those, that's scary, right? I never expected it to be that scary. I thought it was just going to be being underwater. No, it was worse. It was way worse.
being said, this is important to know that Fox 11 Los Angeles, we have the Fox Local app that's available through Amazon, Fire TV, Apple TV, Roku, and Google Android
fire?
TV.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't really a big fire.
YouTube.com/FoxLA.
We're talking about school drills or actual fire? No, actual fire.
So the Palisades fire, of course, the largest fire in our region right now, with more than 17,000 acres burned.
Yeah, so Tom Bakar from our sister station, KTVU, is actually live now in Malibu. Tom, good afternoon. What can you tell us?
Well, I want you to take a look, because this is the grim side of what we're talking about. The grim side of this is the coroner's wagon. They just a few minutes ago loaded the remains of a human being.
Oh, I think they showed this one.
Building, a home.
Yeah.
What happened was that a relative of the person who is now deceased had called in, was not able to contact the loved one, and asked the sheriff's office to go out and do a welfare check. When they came out, they saw, of course, the destroyed building, but they also thought what they saw was also human remains. That falls under the jurisdiction of the homicide folks.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that got cooked.
It doesn't mean it's necessarily a crime. It is just their jurisdiction, and they called in crime scene lab investigators to take a look. Well, they determined that the coroner should be called in, and indeed the coroner was called in.
It's bad.
And the coroner did find human remains, certainly appear to be that, and put them in the coroner's wagon to be taken for medical
Literally or
examination.
figuratively?
Now,
Literally.
There are two other such of these incidents, as you probably know, in Altadena, so the coroner's office has been busy. But
0% containment. Wow.
Think about this, and I've covered these things for decades. Only 5 deaths in a fire of this side is a testament to LA County preparation, a real testament to the people who actually followed evacuation orders.
Only 5 people have died?
Response that went on,
There's no way.
Which may be criticized for some things, but
no, I don't believe that.
And when you think about this, the
I'm sorry, I don't believe that.
in Northern California, the worst fire had 85 deaths. And I don't think it was any worse than some of the stuff we've seen around here. And
there's no shot.
In the top 20 here. 6 deaths are the ones that are start the top 20 most deadly fires. And LA County in this fire so far has had only 5.
Did I watch the video about how they own the majority water banks? Yeah, I did. That family?
By paying attention to all of that. Now, this scene will be cleared, you know, obviously now, without the human remains. It's no longer a scene of anything other than a place that's going to have to be cleaned up. But some family is going to get the terrible news that their loved one has indeed perished, and that that person is now on their way to the medical examiner's office. I'm sure they probably have already been informed. Reporting live from Malibu, Tom Bakar for KTTV, Fox 11.
They've only found 5 corpses. The actual deaths are going to be way more.
Yeah. Because it is obviously still so early since these fires erupted, and you can, I mean, there's the rubble is for miles and miles. Do you know if fire officials have had a chance to go through home by home? I know that the call came in through a welfare check with that particular home, but what about the others? And there are so many homes that have burned to the ground. You wonder if there could be more, sadly. You hope that number holds, though. You really do.
Well, I hope it holds, but the reality is that every home has not been looked at. Now, a lot of people are probably still being sought to find out where they are and all of that, and many, many people who are missing end up being, you know, showing up or calling in or doing whatever it is that they have to do, or they contact loved ones, and that list gets very small very, very quickly. But do I think in a vast fire the size of this and the other ones in the LA basin that there are other victims? They certainly do, because two things are at work here. Some people don't have loved ones that would call in, or might not think to call in for a welfare check or something like that, or maybe couldn't get through and didn't think much of it. And the other thing is just the sheer volume of what you're talking about. And it's not like, you know, the bodies are laying out in, you know, in easy to find form. In some cases, they've been incinerated. In some cases, there could be feet of ashes on top of them. So no, I think that there's very high likelihood that this number is going to go up. But at this point in time, it's way too early in that process. But when they do hear that there is a possibility that they go out and they check that immediately.
Holy
because,
shit, man.
Other than saving lives, recovering bodies is a very high priority after any kind of disaster like this, because you cannot possibly let people back in if there's a single chance that one of these properties might have something like that going on. So that is the situation based on my experience, which goes back quite a few years.
That's right. Tom Vakar with our sister station, KTVU, reporting there from the Palisades fire in Malibu. Tom, thank you so much for your reporting.
Well, many were cremated? Yeah, I guess so.
Here's a look right now. The map of the Palisades fire started near Piedra Morada and Monte Hermoso Drive.
Has a fire tornado been seen? No, I haven't seen. No, I don't think so. Nothing like that.
It's been a while when we were talking about how this fire began, and those red flag warnings still in effect despite the fact that we've had days of this. The winds in a bit of a lull.
Yeah, no, this has just been nuts. I'll see if I can pull up if they talked about what the governor said about this. Yeah, he's trending. What a surprise. I wonder why. Yeah.
Governor, that was my daughter's.
Governor,
you got a second? Governor,
he doesn't have a second. He's busy.
I live here, Governor. That was my daughter's school, Governor. Please tell me what you're going to do. I'm not going to hurt him, I promise.
I'm literally talking to the president right now to specifically answer the question of what we can do for you and your daughter.
Can I hear it? Can I hear your call? Because I don't believe it.
I'm sorry. There's literally, I've tried 5 times. That's why I'm walking around to make the call.
Why is the president not taking your call?
Because it's not going through. So
Why?
I have to get cell service.
So let's get it. Let's get it. I want to be here when you call the president.
I appreciate it. I'm doing that right now. And it's to immediately get reimbursements, individual assistance, and to help you. I'm devastated for you. I'm so sorry, especially for your daughter. I have 4 kids. Losing the school.
Everyone who went to school there, they lost their homes. They lost 2 homes because they were living in one and building another. Governor, please tell me, what are you going to do with the president right now?
We're getting the resources to help rebuild.
Why was there no water in the hydrants, Governor?
That's all literally.
Is it going to be different next time?
It has to be. Has to be. Of course.
What are you going to do?
I'm doing
to
everything
fill the
I can.
hydrants. I would fill them up personally. You know that.
I would fill them up. I mean, to be fair, it's
I would fill up the hydrants myself.
I understand.
But would you?
And you've got to admit, like, I mean, yeah, this guy's an idiot, but like, man, this seems staged as fuck. Yeah, I can see why he probably doesn't give that much of a fuck if it burns down.
Do that?
I would do whatever I can.
But you're not.
God damn.
I see the. Do you know there's water dripping over there, Governor? There's water coming out there. You can use it.
I appreciate it. I'm going to make the call to address everything I can right now, including making sure people
I'd
are
like
safe.
to make sure you do. Can I have an opportunity to at least tell people you're doing what you're saying you're doing? Could somebody have a contact? Can I have your contact information?
Yeah, give me his phone number. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, bro, she's going ape shit on him.
Largest dam removal project in U.S. history, and one of the most significant, if not the most significant, water restoration project, bringing back salmon and steelhead into this basin. This project could not have happened without extraordinary partnerships with tribal nations and, of course, our partners in the North and Oregon. We just finished a celebration with the Secretary of the Interior and our tribal council and tribal leaders, and I couldn't be more proud as a Californian, and I couldn't be more proud as a father, because my kids and their great-great-grandkids will have the opportunity to see something that, well, has been here since time immemorial.
Yep.
And it's about damn time we got this done.
Man.
Largest dam.
Oh, man.
You know, people are literally fleeing. People have lost their lives. Kids lost their schools. Families completely torn asunder. Churches burned down. This guy wanted to politicize it. I have a lot of thoughts, and I know what I want to say. I won't. I stood next to a president of the United States of America today, and I was proud to be with Joe Biden. And he had the backs of every single person in this community. He didn't play politics, didn't try to divide any of us.
Finally, your message to the folks here, to this community.
I mean, we have their backs, and we're going to be back, and this is going to be a long recovery process. But look, we have residents moving back into Paradise, California. I've seen remarkable recovery efforts.
How do you shouldn't say that you're hearing like recovery? There's a house on fire that's literally behind you. Like, I wouldn't say that. I mean, of all the things to say, that's not what I would say. Because it's just like, if you were paying it, if you, like, maybe if you listen to it and you're not watching it, it's okay, because you can't see the fire. But you can even kind of hear the fire. And so maybe that wouldn't even work.
I've seen a remarkable sense of community, purpose, resilience. So I'm not just playing the politician role of optimism. I really am long-term optimistic. But the devastation to hear people wailing and crying, concerned about their pet, their family, they're just bewildered about what they're experiencing. And again, not just experience. I was not talking past tense. This is happening in real time. 0% containment.
I think that there's a lot of emotional manipulation that's going on with this, because if you're talking about, like, he's saying, well, we're just trying to help the people, and then somebody's saying, like, well, you know, maybe your politics led to this outcome, and then they say, oh, well, stop talking politics. Well, if the politics are the reason why it happened, then maybe we should talk about that. Maybe we should see about, like, how do we get here? And, like, stop trying to, like, turn this into some kind of fucking issue, because this is the reason why it happened. Fiery but most be peaceful? Yeah, I mean, there you go. And green screen for sure. He wouldn't be talking with no mask. I have no idea. I really don't know. He'll never take responsibility? Probably not. But no water because of a fish? I don't think it's that simple, to be honest with you. I don't think so. So he was just recalled and the people of California voted him back in? I guess so. People responsible always try to say don't talk politics when they fuck up. That's exactly what's happening, is that he's saying let's not talk about any of the reason why this happened. You know, like, let's just talk about the fact that it's so bad that it's happening, rather than actually looking at why it happened or how it got to this point. Yeah, it's insane. Let me see. I think that's pretty much everything that's happened, right? I mean, I'm trying to make sure, but I feel like that's pretty much all of the. Oh, here's another one.
If it is true that Gavin Newsom is the absolute blithering idiot that I believe he is, in the way he has handled fire management in this state again and again and again and again, this isn't.
How's he responsible? Is Meatball Ron responsible for hurricanes in Florida? Did Zodiac Ted cause the blizzards in Texas? Why are you asking if he's responsible 3 times? Yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple, right? Like, what do you mean? How are the politics? And also, the answer to that is, in some cases, yes, you're going to get banned. But I'll answer your question. How is politics the reason why you get banned? I didn't say it was the reason, but I'm sure it has a factor. Like, you really think that, like, the political decisions that he made didn't have a factor at all on causing these things to happen? When I see the fire department getting together and having, like, little get-togethers talking about why diversity is important, and this isn't being this, I mean, this is all taxpayer money being spent, and it's being spent on that and not trying to make preventative action. I mean, what are we talking about? And so is Ron, you talk about Ron DeSantis responsible for hurricanes? In some cases, yeah, I think so. It's not responsible for the hurricane happening. It's responsible for mitigating the damage that the hurricane does. And did Zodiac Ted cause the blizzards in Texas? No, he didn't. But the people that are in charge of Texas should be accountable for why the blizzards shut the state down. It's common sense. Watch the Elon video. I said it 3 times so you stop dodging Elon the liar. The Elon about what? Because you said he is responsible? Well, he is. He's the governor of the state. He is. Everything that happens in the state is his responsibility to deal with. That's the way it works. That's part of being the governor. It might not be his fault in every case, but it's certainly his responsibility. When you're in a leadership position, that's what happens. And you share the, what do you call it? You share accountability from both ways. Yeah, hurricanes are harder to control than wildfire, which is why we don't have hurricane men. Yeah, I don't know. But they're responsible for being prepared for the recovery. Yeah, exactly. And it's crazy. Why'd you ban him? Because he's being aggro and he's being rude. He's coming in here to argue and be obnoxious and hostile to me. Anybody who's aggro or hostile to me, I just immediately ban. I don't have, like, there's no reason. Here's really the question, right? Why should I tolerate an irate, hostile person? Why should I do that? Why? Like, I don't want to do that. Like, there's no reason to. Yeah, and so, like, not worth your time. You're responsible for prevent damage from the people. If you don't do it to prevent it, then you're not a good leader. Yeah, for sure. You shouldn't tolerate them. Banning was the right call. Yeah, and also, I think that also, like, will Trump be responsible for everything bad that happens in America in the next 4 years? I love you. I'm not trying to be hostile. Well, yeah, I think that a lot of people, for example, called out the fact that Trump dissolved the pandemic response team that Obama had set up prior to COVID. I think that was a really big talking point, and I think everybody pretty much came to a consensus that that was a bad decision. So, yeah, no, I mean, like, I understand, like, a lot of people are, like, really, they're really, like, kind of, like, the side, like, politics, like, you know, Republican, anti-Democrat, like, brained, and they, like, can only think in terms of this dichotomy. That's not how it works. I don't think that's ever how it's worked. And people just can't stop fixating on it. Yeah, they're, like, partisan brained. That's not what's going on. Like, I don't think like that. I don't really look at things that way at all. Trump lost 2020 because of COVID. Yeah, exactly. I think that if COVID didn't happen, Trump would have won the election in 2020. Like, and so are people holding him accountable? I think the fact that he lost the election is an example of the fact that, yeah, absolutely, people held him accountable. Like, there you go. There's a lot of gray areas. A lot of people don't think that way. Yeah, of course.
Wake-up call. This is the kind of thing they have tribunals for, where they try people and say, you had an oath of office to perform certain duties. When you're the fire chief, this isn't a social justice exercise that you're in charge of. This is you getting water to areas that need water because there are fires in 100-mile-an-hour winds burning houses to the ground. I watched on a Ring camera a guy have to sit and watch his pet burn to death. You know, those things are issues of the heart when you watch a cherished little pet. Or, you know, look, my home is a building. It was we worked 3 years putting the home together. We loved our little house. But it means nothing compared to the 5 people who lost their lives.
Yeah, people, and also, like, this guy's rich, and so he just get another house built, right? But, like, you got a bunch of people that they can't just get their house rebuilt. Like, it's obviously a tragedy, and I don't like the people that downplay when, like, a bad thing happens to a person with money. They think that it's, like, either a good thing or it doesn't matter. It's obviously bad when it happens to them, too. But at the same time, he's right that, you know, like, this guy's got the resources to deal with it and to take care of it. Like, yeah, I mean, fuck. It's like, for example, like, if my car breaks down, I can just go get the car fixed. If somebody else's car breaks down, that fucks up their life for 3 months. Like, yeah, no, I totally get it. It's less consequential. Yeah, exactly. And that's it.